Lewis equation, and where y is Lewis form factor. Okay, so this form factor is mainly dependent on the number of tooths. Okay, so and for that we have some equations in the data handbook. You can use the data handbook and get the equation for the Lewis form factor. Okay, so for various gear systems, that is whether it is 14.5 degree or 20 degree involute or cyclone LT, for various types of teeth and various pressure angles, we have the separate equations to get the value of y. Okay, so and that is known as Lewis form factor, and this equation is known as Lewis equation, which gives the beam strength. Okay, remember it is strength. Strength means it is the capacity. Okay, and next is here we have used the term sigma W, that is the allowable stress or permissible stress. Okay, so what is the value of sigma W? Okay, that we need to understand. So that is the permissible stress in the Lewis equation depends on the material for which an allowable stress may be determined. Okay, so the allowable static stress is the stress at the elastic limit of the material, and it is also called as basic stress. So in order to account for the dynamic effect, okay, which become more severe as the pitch line velocity increases. Okay, pitch line velocity, that is the velocity along the pitch line. Okay, this is the circle of any gear tooth or any gear. Okay, the velocity along this line. Okay, so as the pitch line increases, then the dynamic effects will become more severe. So the value of sigma W is reduced. Okay, so according to this, according to Burke formula, according to Burke formula, sigma W, the working stress, is equal to sigma O multiplied by Cb. Okay, where sigma O is the allowable stress for the given material. It is a metal property, and Cv is the velocity factor. Okay, so what is this Cv? This Cv accounts for it is a constant. It is a value which considers the dynamic effect, that is the effect of pitch line velocity. Okay, if the velocity is more, then the dynamic effect will be more. Therefore, we need to consider that also. Okay, if it is a case of static loading, then we would have not considered this Cv. Okay, but it is a dynamic case. We need to consider the effect of velocity. So this will further reduce the working stress. Okay, so for example, this Cv is equal to 3 by 3 plus Vm, where Vm is the pitch line velocity. This is for ordinary gears operating at a velocity up to 12.5 meters per second. Okay, this is an example. Okay, for example, the equation for Cv will come like this. Okay, so hence the Lewis equation will become like this. That is Ft is equal to, instead of sigma W, we will write sigma O and Cv. I think in the data handbook, the Cv is given as kV, so we can write kV here. Instead of Cv, we can write kV. So sigma O kV multiplied by d y, sorry, d Cc d Cc y, and Cc is what is Cc here? What is Cc here?
Circular pitch.
Huh?
Circular pitch.
It is circular pitch. It is given by
Pi d by z.
pi d by z. Pi, it is d by z. D by z, it is correct. It is pi d by z, but this d by z is called as m module. Where d is the diameter in terms of millimeters, and z is the number of tooths. So that is equal to module. So in place of Cc, we can write this pi m. Okay. So Ft, the Lewis equation, can be written as sigma O. I'll write it according to the data analyst in the same order. Correct. There is sigma O B I M kV. Okay, so this is the Lewis equation. So based on this equation, we can use this equation to find out the beam strength of the gear tooth. Is it clear? If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Any doubts?
No, sir.
So this is the final equation which gives the beam strength. Okay, which gives the beam strength of the given gear tooth. And this equation gives the actual tangential tooth load. Okay, so this Ft must be less than the Ft what you get from Lewis equation. Okay, next is since the gear is undergoing the dynamic loading, we need to calculate the dynamic tooth load. Okay. Dynamic tooth load. That is, what is the total load acting on the gear tooth. So, in the previous topic, the velocity factor was used to make approximate allowance for the effect of dynamic loading. Okay, That is, here we have considered this KV, which considers the effect of dynamic loading on the working stress. And here the dynamic loads are due to the following reason. Okay. The dynamic loads are due to the following reason. They are, one is inaccuracies of tooth spacing. Number two, irregularities in tooth profile and deflection of teeth under loading. So due to these reasons, the dynamic loads will create. Okay. So the close approximation to the actual conditions can be obtained like this. That is FD, that is the dynamic load, that is equal to Ft plus F1. Okay. This F1 is the increment load due to dynamic action. So this Ft, what is this Ft here?
Sigma naught B pi m kV. Sigma A, sorry. Sigma A B pi m kV.
It is sigma naught only, it is not sigma A. But my question is, what is from where you got that equation? From where you got that? What is the name of that equation?
Levy's equation.
Levy's equation. Okay. What it gives? What does the Levy's equation give?
Beam strength.
Beam strength. Right?
Yes, sir.
Levy's equation gives the beam strength. But here, it is dynamic tooth load. Okay. And this load is created because of inaccuracies and irregularities in the teeth profile and the deflection of the teeth under loading. Okay. And this is the actual load. The dynamic tooth load is the actual load on the beam or on the gear tooth. So this FD is the dynamic tooth load, and this FT is the, definitely it is not from Levy's equation. It is actual tangential tooth load. Okay. You should take this FT from here. From this equation, that is 9550 PCS by NR. So from this equation, we need to take the value of FT and substitute here. And this F1 is the increment load due to dynamic action. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We need to take the actual tangential tooth load, and what is the increment load due to dynamic loading And we have an equation for that F1. Okay. So, or we can write the FD that is equal to FT. FT, that is the actual tangential tooth load, plus 21 VM into BC plus FT, or FT plus BC, FT plus BC, that divided by 21 VM plus square root of FT plus BC. Okay, this is the equation which gives the dynamic tooth load. Okay, you have all these things in the data handbook. That is equation number 23.155. Okay, design data handbook volume 2. Volume 2. Okay, from this equation, you can get the value of dynamic tooth load. So this is the actual load on the gear tooth. So here, what is VM? Where VM is fixed line velocity. FT is the actual tooth load. And what is B and what is C? So now we have the another two terms here. So here B is the face width. B is the face width. Here this is B, that is the face width. Okay, here the face B. So it is face width. And again, C is another constant, which is known as dynamic factor. Okay. See, what is this dynamic factor and what is KV? All those things we will you will study while solving the problem. Okay. And this dynamic factor depends on the error in action between the teeth, from the error in action between teeth and the class of cut of the gear and the tooth form and the material. So these are the factors which are to be considered while obtaining the value of C. Okay. So you will understand this better while we solve the problem. Okay. So now again coming back to this, the gear tooth should have the requirements which must be met in the design of gear drive are. The gear tooth should have a sufficient strength so that they will not fail under static and dynamic loading. Okay, this was the first requirement, and now here we have calculated the dynamic load. Okay, so this is the FD is the dynamic load, and we know the actual tangential tooth load, and again we have the beam strength of the gear tooth, so that by comparing the value of actual tangential load and the beam strength, we can say the design may be safe based on the static loading. Okay, and now here we have calculated the dynamic tooth load. Okay, we have just calculated. Okay, we have not evaluated this. Okay, this is just a calculation. So by using this equation, we can calculate the dynamic tooth load, and this dynamic tooth load will lead to fatigue. Okay, this dynamic tooth load gives rise to surface fatigue. Or it leads to wear. Okay, wear on the surface. Is it clear? So since it leads to surface fatigue or wear, we need to know what is the wear strength of the gear tooth. Okay, so the wear strength of the gear tooth is given by the Buckingham equation, that is Fw, that is equal to dBqk. Okay, this is the equation where d is the pitch circle diameter of the pinion, and q, d is the pitch circle dia of pinion. What do you mean by pinion here?
Driving gear.
This is the driving gear. Okay, and b is the face width. Q is again it is known as a ratio factor. Okay, it is the ratio factor, and K is load stress factor. Okay, let us not talk about these two right now. Okay, while solving the problem, you will understand this. So this is the equation for wear strength. Okay, now all of you listen carefully. The design procedure. Okay, so far we have you come to know about the various equations which are to be used, and you know how to calculate those. Now, what is the design procedure? So this is very important, and now here most of your doubts will be addressed. So we know that these data are required while designing the gear. Okay, that is the power to be transmitted, speed of the gear, and speed of the pinion, and center distance. Okay, we know all these data. Okay, so if you want to design a gear, you need at least two gear wheels, right? One is driver and one is driven. Okay, so let's say this is one of the gear or a driver, and say this is a driven. Okay, so this is driver and driven. So let us assume that we have power to be transmitted. We have the data, that is power to be transmitted, and speed of pinion and gear, and we know the center distance. Okay, we know all this. Now, the question is, what do you mean by design here? We need to fix the dimension. Okay, the design is we need to fix the dimensions. That is, we need to find out the dimensions of the gear. We need to find the dimensions, and we need to find module and the diameter of the gear and the material of the gear. Okay, right? We need to find these things. We have all these data and we need to find this. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you know the dimension of any one of the gear, that is, if you know the value of module, diameter, and the number of teeth, Z. Okay, M is the module and D is the spherical diameter, and Z is the number of tooth on any one of the gear. If you know any one of the gear, then you can get the dimensions of the other gear, right? If you know all these values of the driver, then you can get the value of the driven. Can you get it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
How? How can you get that? How can you get those data? See, we already know that N1 by N2 that is equal to D2 by D1. And that is equal to Z2 by Z1. Okay. So we know these equations. So we can get the dimensions of the other gear. Okay. Now the important thing is which component you will design, whether you will design the driver gear or the driven gear. Which one? That is the question. Which component you will design first?
Pinion.
Why should we design the pinion? Why can't we design the gear?
Because
first?
from that we need, because from pinion we need to transmit power to driver gear, so driven gear. So
No, that is not the valid answer. See, in the last semester, while designing the coupling, we have designed the shaft, coupling, key, bolt, everything, right?
sir,
In that, which was the weakest member, either shaft or the key?
key is the weakest.
Key was the weakest because it was easy to replace the key instead of replacing the shaft. Okay. So here we need to design the weaker member. Okay. Here we need to design the weaker member, that is either it may be gear or the pinion. So if we design for the weaker member, then the stronger member will not fail at all. Is it clear? So if I how to identify the weaker member, that is the another topic. But if you know the weaker member and if you design that weaker member for the safe design, then all the members in the same in that assembly will not fail at all. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So if I design the weaker member for the safety, then the other components which are itself they are more stronger than the weaker member, so they will pass the design. They will get through the load without undergoing failure. So we need to design the weaker member. That is, if I find the dimensions and the module diameter and material, if I fix all these things for the weaker member for the safety, then the other components they will they will not fail at all under the loading. So we need to design the weaker member. Okay, so this is important thing. We need to design the weaker member, and for that we need to identify which is the weaker member. Either it is gear or pinion. That we need to identify. Any doubts? Any doubts?
No, sir.
So that identifying the weaker member need some data. Okay, so that is, so the first step is to identify the weaker member. So how to identify the weaker member? So for that, we will write a table. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. So from this table, we will identify the weaker member. Here, sigma O is the allowable static stress for the given material. So first we will pick some material for the application. Okay. So if I fix the material, then I can get the material property. And since I'm knowing the center distance, I can fix some diameter and some number of feet for the for that particular. I'll get some value here. I can get some value here and here. I can get the values. So if sigma OY of pinion is less than sigma OY of gear, then pinion is the weaker member. Okay. If the product of sigma OY, the product, whichever the product is lesser value, then that will be the weaker member. Okay, so sigma OY of pinion is lesser than sigma OY of gear, then pinion is weaker. Similarly, if vice versa is also true. If sigma OY of gear is lesser than the sigma OY of pinion, then the gear will be the weaker member. So once you know the weaker member, then you can design the weaker member. Any doubt?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. See here, you may not understand completely, but you just follow the procedure. Okay. And once you start solving the problem, most of your doubts can be will get clarified. Okay. And the class will be uploaded.
Sir, could you please send us the Google Classroom code, sir, for DME2? Hello?
Yes, Monish.
Sir, could you please send us the Google Classroom code, sir, for DME2?
It was a